Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Lynn, and this is an exciting video for me because I've been trying to prepare to do this for a little bit of time. Some other things kind of got in the way of me really starting this in earnest, but this is a first look, which will lead into an in-depth review of the CraftFirst cutting plates. And this is going to be really exciting for me because I have a Gemini electric cutting machine. I've got the big one. I took the dive, got the big machine, and it was spendy. And I have used it maybe 5 times, I think, because it just cuts into these plates and just chews them up so fast. And I've tried a lot of things. I've tried a lot of the tips and tricks that other folks here on YouTube, other crafters have recommended, and they work to some extent, but I feel like I just don't want to be on this hamster wheel of continually replacing the plates, and they can be spendy for one, and at the rate that I was seeing them, because I do a lot of die cutting. I'm kind of a die cutting crafter first and foremost, and so I put my plates through a lot, and that's why I've been loving the magic mat. And I tried the magic mat through the Gemini and was trying to really dial it in so that it was just enough pressure, but I could never really get a consistent sandwich that worked well for me, and to be honest, I just gave up on it and put it on a shelf. But I have actually taken it off the shelf. I replaced my Fun Stampers Journey Platinum machine, and I will be using the Gemini with the CraftFirst plates as my primary and as my only die cutting machine if I can. And where I can't would probably be when I go to do some better pressing or some foiling with the Glimmer, because I don't have the Gemini hot foil machine. And so that's where I'm headed, but what I will cover in this video is I'm not going to actually do any die cutting or embossing or anything. I'll do all the things as the next 4 to 6 weeks kind of progresses. But what I wanted to do is I do have a caliper to measure the plates. So what I want to do is kind of one for one measure and compare the original Gemini, version of the sandwich components, and then compare that to the equivalent in the CraftFirst. And the only thing that I don't have, they may make it, and I just wasn't sent it because CraftFirst did kindly send me these plates to try out. And I'm going to do a whole other version of this, but with the Cuttlebug. I'm really excited for that one too, because Cuttlebug doesn't make their plates anymore, so it's great that you can get everything, the full stack, A, B, C, embossing mat, magnetic shim, everything through CraftFirst. So really fabulous that there's a supplier. I still have all of my original plates from the Cuttlebug, and so I'll do a very similar series, but I wanted to start with my Gemini first. And I did notice the only thing that I didn't get an equivalent to is the magnetic shim. So that's the only thing that I don't have in CraftFirst, but everything else I do. So what I will do is, as we are measuring things, let me record the thickness. So we have CraftFirst, and then we'll have the original Gemini. And so we've got our embossing mat on the top here, so we'll just start there. And let's see. So let's zero this out. Okay. A little bit squishy, so I don't want to push too hard. That looks like 1.95, 0.95. So I think this will probably be 0.95. Everything's going to be in millimeters. Okay, so that's the Gemini embossing mat. And let's see the CraftFirst. Get that zeroed out. Okay. Ooh, 0.74. 0.74. 0.72. So we'll call it 0.74. So a little bit thinner. 0.74 millimeter. That's CraftFirst. The magnetic shim, when I do my testing, I'll just have to use the same magnetic shim across them both. So, because we don't have one in CraftFirst to compare. Look what happened to my metal shim from Gemini. There's so much pressure that this happened. So let's hope I can get some good measurements. This is a nice flat area, so I'll measure this way. 0.43. Oh, 0.28. 0.28. What's this? Oh yeah, 0.25. Okay. I think that 0.43 was not correct. Okay. Here but this is 0.4. See, I think the problem is that this is warped. So I'm not able to really get super flush. 0.33. Let me see if I can get this on this end. That's 0.5. Yeah, see, I feel like 0.5. Let's see, that's too curved to measure. Let's take here. 0.4. 0.4. Yeah, I'm wondering if this is closer to, I'm getting measurements all over, but that's because it's not super flush. So, yeah, 0.4 might be where this one, yeah, I think 0.4 might be where this one's at. Unfortunately, I don't have a really pristine one. So there's that. And then let's see, this one should measure much more easily because this is brand new. 0.24, 0.25, 0.24. See how easy it is when it's 2.3, when it's super flat. 0.27. I think 0.24 might be kind of where we're at with that. So again, we're thinner on the CraftFirst side. Okay, plastic shim. I'm gonna leave the cutting plates to last because the cutting plates are really the thing that would be consumable. That's the thing you're gonna replace. Everything else, it shouldn't get too, well, my metal shim got a little bit bent out of shape, literally, but it is gonna function just fine. So this is maybe 1.7, 1.7, 1.7. Let's just do the other end. 1.67, 1.7. Okay, I think 1.7 is about where we're at on that. So that's the plastic shim. 1.7. And let's see what CraftFirst is. Ooh, 1.46, 1.45, 1.45. Thinner here too. Oh, this is very consistent. Oh, I say that, but then I get something that's a little bit... But 1.45 I think is what is... we'll take down for that. So far, thinner all the way. So I wonder if the actual plates are going to be thinner. That would be interesting because this is what's actually going to get replaced, if anything. So let's see. Oh, okay. They've been run through my machine. That's why they aren't super clear. But they haven't been cut into, so in terms of getting measurements off of them, it should still be pretty good read because it hasn't been cut into at all, so it's not too terribly warped. 3.6-ish, 3.5, 3.5, pretty much. 3.6. This is really thick here. Oh no, 3.6-ish. No, that's 3.5. 3.7. Okay, so we're a little bit between 3.5 to 3.7. Let me measure my other one. Oh, this seems straighter. So let's get 3.6, 3.5, 3.46, 3.48. Maybe 3.5 is about where it's supposed to be. Yeah, I think 3.5. Okay. And we're gonna go with 3.5. So this would be the cutting. Okay. This is kind of... These are pristine, as you can see. Brand new. And we are zeroed. Let's just zero out again. Oh, 3.5. A little bit... Yeah, 3.5. This is... pretty on point. 3.53, 3.55. Maybe a smidge more. I would put this at maybe, because some readings are a little bit higher. But okay, we'll call it 3.52, just to say, to capture the fact that there were some readings, because these were a little bit above and below 3.5, but I think by and large this was more readings were above 3.5, but pretty close in terms of thickness for the actual cutting plates. And like I said, these are the consumables. These are the ones that you're gonna really be cutting into. And so I think that what I might do is the standard sandwich for die cutting anyhow is a cutting plate. And I've got that on both CraftFirst and Gemini. The plastic shim, and I have that on both Gemini and CraftFirst. And then there's the magnetic shim is part of the standard. And I don't have a magnetic shim in CraftFirst, so what I'll do is I do have the small version and a large version. So I'm going to use, when I test the CraftFirst one, I'll use the junior magnetic shim, and I have that equivalent there. And then, you know, your dye, your paper, and then your other cutting mat. So what I'm thinking I would do, though, is, because generally what you would do if you were actually replacing just the cutting plates, like you'd already bought the machine, you should already have these first three, and they don't get cut into at all, so they should hold up fine over time. It's just the cutting plates that would change. So here's what I'm thinking of doing. So maybe this will take me a little bit longer than 4 to 6 weeks to really test. But what I'm thinking is, let's say I don't use Gemini plates at all. And let's say instead I replaced my Gemini plates with CraftFirst, but I use the Gemini plastic shim and magnetic mat. And then on a different, like maybe for 4 weeks I'll do that, and then for the other 4 weeks I'll use everything CraftFirst. And I'm kind of curious, because the CraftFirst cutting plate is like a smidge, it's just a smidge thicker than the original Gemini. I wonder, let me measure the magnetic shim, because I wonder, I think it's going to be more than what the magnetic shim is. Yeah, see, a magnetic shim is 1 millimeter. Oh, maybe less. Hold on. Oh, 0.7. 0.7. Okay, maybe closer to 0.7. Yeah, so maybe 0.72. So this is magnetic shim is 0.72. So, interesting, because these are all thinner. I'm really curious to see how this is going to turn out, because this stack here is overall going to be a little bit thinner, the completed sandwich, as compared to this over here. If I just use Gemini everything except for CraftFirst cutting plates. But really the only difference is the plastic shim, because I'm going to use these three comprise your standard sandwich, and I have to use the Gemini magnetic shim on both sides. So these are so close, but the big difference is in the plastic shim. So it'll be interesting to see. And in terms of, that's just in terms of thickness though. We'll see in terms of like the makeup of the plastic, how quickly the CraftFirst plates warp. And so in my in-depth review, I will, I'll link to these if you want to check them out for yourself and see price point. I didn't look that up before. Before I turned on the camera, I was just very eager to measure these and see how they compare to one another, but certainly look for my in-depth video. I'm gonna say closer to like 6 to 8 weeks from now. I want to give it a test in both configurations, if you're using the full stack CraftFirst versus using the mostly Gemini, and then maybe just replacing the cutting plate, top cutting plate with CraftFirst. So we'll see if there's any difference there, but I am eager to test this out. I'm eager to actually put my Gemini to use, so I'm very excited for that. And one thing I will say is that I'm pretty certain that the CraftFirst line is probably more affordable and easy and accessible to get, because I think you can find these on Amazon too, but I know for certain you can find the CraftFirst plates on Amazon. So that's going to be really easy to order, and they'll come to you quickly too if you need it really fast. And so in my next video, I'll give some concluding thoughts on the plates and how well they've held up. And I will look a little bit more into the price too, just to see how cost effective these are as compared to the Gemini plates. And I don't often cut into my Gemini plates because one, I don't often use my Gemini, but two, the ones that were really chewed up, I've already tossed, and since then I have barely used it, and I've tried to use it more with my Magic mat. But what I might do as I go along is I might actually sacrifice one of my plates to the cause, and that way we can get a little bit of a compare and contrast between how the Gemini plates hold up over. I can't guarantee the exact, wear and tear or usage, but similar usage over time. So that's my plan, and I'm excited to give this a try. Let me know if you've used CraftFirst, what you think of it, how it compares to the Gemini original plates, and if it lasts longer, if it's just more economical, so maybe we don't mind changing it out as often because of that. I would love to hear your thoughts, and I'm excited to kind of form my own opinion as I use this over the next 6 to 8 weeks. Thanks so much for joining me today, and until next time, happy crafting and have a fabulous day. Bye.